Hello, Haskell friends. Welcome back to more watching me trying to learn some Haskell live on the internet. I'm accidentally on call this evening. Well, I'm purposely on call this evening, but I forgot it clashed. So if my phone rings and I look stressed and then disappear, that's why. But hopefully it'll be quiet. We can just get through an hour of fun Haskell coding. Plan for tonight is to pick up the web app we're writing in Servant to be able to book different environments. Last week I was moving most of the code out of handlers and into, mostly into a sort of fake database layer. Most of those are done. I've got one left to do, which is for the booking itself, which I will pick up first. And then when that's working, I'm going to start looking at adding durations onto bookings. And then being able to, I guess, say whether or not an environment is currently booked or if it's available. But yeah, before I get into the details of how we do the booking and handling time and stuff like that, I want to tidy the handler up so that the handlers stay nice and clean. They're just doing handling, I guess, the interfacing with the outside world. And all of the other code is sort of safely tucked away in different modules. Okay, so let's pick that up. So yeah, last time, as I said, we moved most stuff out. The listing environments, getting environments, creating environments, listing bookings, that's all gone now, so it's mostly in the DB package. Create bookings is probably, I think that's the last one to do, and it's perhaps the most complicated one. It's also got a concurrency bug down here, but we'll fix that as we move it. Okay, so I'm just going to actually, I'll grab a copy of this code, and then I'm going to jump into the database layer because we'll need to create something in here to create bookings. Create bookings, and that's got a type of something. What's the type of the environment? So it's going to be given a booking and a database, and it's going to return the booking. I think that's what will happen. Well, it might return booking environment booking, I'm not sure. But anyway, so it'll take a DAO booking. It'll take the database, and it'll return IO. Let's just say DAO booking for now. Okay, so create bookings. B and database, and just paste on what we grabbed before. Okay, so we don't need to ask for these things, but we can just destructure this, I guess, when we're matching it. So the environments, I guess it's because we look up the environment, make sure it exists. Ah, interesting. Okay, this is probably going to have to be a maybe. Maybe IO DAO booking, IO maybe DAO booking, because we might not be able to create it, or the environment itself might not exist. Or we could look up the environment and pass it in. Let's start by looking up inside here and maybe returning a maybe from this. I'm just trying to think about how we deal with it from the handler point of view. But it could just... how do we deal with it for looking up an environment, actually? Yeah, it's IO of maybe. So we'll do the same trick, I think. I'll say, if we don't find the environment that this booking belongs to, then we'll return an error, or not return an error, but we'll return nothing. And then the handler can pattern match against that, and then it can return 404. Okay, so environments is the env table. Bookings is just a table, and the last booking index Maybe we can call that counter above. Let's go and check that. Yeah, we can call it counter. Okay. So the environments we want to read. Well, actually, yeah, this is safe to do. Okay, we're going to read tvar of the emp table, not end table. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? End table. Okay, so we look it up inside here using find. If we don't get it, then I think we actually want to return nothing. Oops, wrong thing. So here, if we look it up and we don't find anything, we return just nothing, pure nothing. So we return, yeah, so we're putting nothing into IO at this point. We'll get booking in a second. Okay. So we find our environment. Okay. Here I think is where it gets more interesting. So this is where I want to say we don't need to lift IO because we're under IO now. So we can say atomically. And then there's a bunch of stuff we want to do. I get this to do in that case. Leave. So here we want to read the counter. Read tvar, no longer under IO because we're now inside atomically. And so I'm just looking at the error above. It looks like we do need the extra do. Maybe not. Maybe it's because of everything else. Okay. Let's go back to this. Sorry. So we get a new ID in a bit. Is that right? No, it's not right. How do we use atomically before? Just say atomically, and then we give it the do block. Unexpected do block and function application. It might be because we haven't finished this yet. So B prime is the booking. Destructured the wrong thing. There you go. So it's a booking. We set the booking ID to I. And we set this to env ID. Where does env ID come from? Oh, it's a thing we're missing, I think. So in the create booking, we get the env ID and the booking object. So we need an ID. And so on. So this now becomes the env ID. It's capital that. Okay, so we set up B prime. If I just say pure B prime, does all my stuff go away? It does not go away. I'm not sure why it's not liking this. create bookings. I might be destructuring down a little bit just so it's easier to read. So here I want to say DB. Let's do this in a bit. And just destructure that to be DB. Can't do that. Oh, I thought I could just destructure like that. That's a shame. Don't know how to write that nicely. I could write it sort of long form and say something like M table equals environments of DB. And we let I could do it here. Okay. Well, it's formatted in quite an amazing way. Okay, so if we get something back, then I think we want to atomically and do these things. Let's go that for a second. Okay, we've changed all of our warnings, so we're maybe in a better place. So I need to qualify these. Okay, now that I've fixed those errors, I get different ones back. This would be pure just B. So that's that error. The expected type was booking to STM of maybe blah blah blah, and the actual type is booking to ASER. So I'm not applying to enough arguments, which means I'm missing that. Okay. What have we got here? So couldn't match the expected type. Actual type character array. M by D is applied to one argument. Okay, so X in this case is something that comes out of M's, so it's environment. So it's probably going to be dow.m by D. And then N by D here, you have a capital D. Wow, that's awkward. Okay, what have we got to? So in here, we destructured the database to grab the environment table, because we're going to look at the environment. The bookings and counter, then we look at the environment table. So can we reuse something from up here? Can we use get environment? Oh, annoyingly, this returns environment with booking. See, I wonder if I could split this out into something that just gets the environment back, which is to the end of this line. Separate that out from putting the bookings onto it. Like I'm sure I could do. Let's start by just writing that. Let's grab this bit and drop it there. And this is going to be pure that thing. Redundant pure. Okay. Oh yes. So it's because I'm now returning a different type. So this is going to be maybe environment. Okay. And then we can say get environment with bookings. And it's basically going to be this type, but it's going to return maybe environment with bookings. And that's going to be, let's have that line. Get environment with bookings. Oh, it doesn't complete that, it's fine. So we've got ID, we got our DB, so we will then get the wonder if I can just put this back in. So we say sequence A of this, instead of doing the find directly here, we can say get environment and pass it the ID and DB. Almost, not quite. So get environment will return IO of maybe DAO environment, whereas the find would return maybe DAO environment. Yes, we got IO and then IO. What was sequence A doing? From left to right, collecting results. And what are we giving it? We're giving it T of FA. So I get the feeling this was, I wish I could remember what this is for. I think it's to do with the handling the fact that we've got the maybe monad underneath the IO monad. I think that's what it's trying to do. So this stuff would have returned a maybe, which is not what we wanted, so we use sequence around it. So then I wonder, if, I mean, one way to do it, a quick way to do it, is to say env comes from get environment of IMDb, and then we can do that. Not super happy with that, but we can come back to it later. So we're going to change this so we only export get environment with booking. And we're going to export create booking as well at some point. No, I don't mean create bookings. That was a mistake. I create a single booking. Okay, just going to go back to main, and I'm going to update the usage of get environment to get environment with bookings. Okay, and the reason for doing all of that is that now we shouldn't have to redo this work. So we can say env is get environment. Can go to the env ID and database. So now we can just say case env of so we're not repeating the work to look up the environment basically. So it's nothing. We see. I wonder if we could just do that and then do pure at this point. No, let's not do that because it didn't work. I might come back to that as well. Okay, so what I've ended up with, we look up our environment. We no longer need to destructure the env table. So get environments. Atomically, we're going to read the counter, create a new version of B, then we need to write this out again. So we need to say read tvar q in this case this is the counter one. And then we're going to increment it. So we write tvar counter and then the successor. So that's the counter. Do we need to do is write out the bookings as well. So we say read tvar table and pass it to write tvar table again, and then we are going to take B prime and append it to the start of that list. I think that's all of this stuff. Okay, I think that's right. So I take it, if these were to return non-IO versions, and that, and we can just say like that, let's call it X per second. Why is that now an error? I'm confused as to why that doesn't work. I mean, that doesn't work because it's not let. X equals So the case was just another expression. This is like from maybe. What's this one do? So from maybe, and you give it the nothing value. I don't think that's what I want to do. What does maybe do as a function? It takes default value function and a maybe value. Nope. That's applying the function to it. Okay. What am I going to do? I want to say. Oh, actually, what I want to do is take this and only apply it to like only do this if we have a value for env. So let me just split this out a bit so it's easier to read, I think. So we can say something like create booking prime, and this takes maybe environment. And it takes, right, bracket, no, don't look at that. It takes the booking, which is a booking. It does not. Yes, it does. That's the data we were given. And it runs on IO, and it returns a dial.booking, but not really, because it's actually a maybe. So we create booking prime. Let's go to the maybes for a second. So if we definitely have an environment, then we will definitely return a booking. So this is environment, this is the booking. And then we can just grab these lines. That's not much good. We need the database as well. So I'll just grab those. Oops, let's just put in function for now. So we need a database. Okay, everything's very red. Not just this point. It's going to be pure. N by D is not in scope. I call DAO dot N by D of ID. Sorry, of E. How do you get the ID of an environment? DAO dot N by D of something. Why is that not happy? So, oh, it's not maybe. Okay. So now we can say, if we have something, we just create a booking. And that takes the environment. So the only thing we need is the ID. We don't need the whole environment. We'll go back to calling it n by d. And it's no longer a DAO environment, but it's DAO ID. Oops. Couldn't match character array with why is it trying to match it with a maybe at this point? Because the underlying type is a maybe. Okay. So we create booking. I'm going to pass in the MID. We're going to pass in the booking that we were given. I'm going to pass in the database. Okay, so that can go. And this will be pure nothing. Okay, and then I think what we can say is from maybe pure nothing and but not quite. It's not the one I wanted. This is maybe pure nothing, create booking prime and oh, there we go, it's from maybe, so it's B, which are default value, we can't find anything. So in this case, it's pure nothing. Then it's a function. So in this case, create booking, which needs to go from A to B. So the same type. So from A, whatever A is, I guess, environment. So you go from environment to that. Okay, yep. Because I need to partially apply this and switch the arguments around. So it's maybe environment. Okay, so we can pass it database, we can pass it B. Swap these arguments around a bit. Database, environment, no, the booking. And then let me just put this back to be DB, no, sorry, DAO.environment, because that's what's going to come out of the call to get environment. And here I can't say, oh, now I move to database to come in first. And here I can't say just env ID, I need to say again, the env ID of E. Again, close server, still not happy. Okay. So we only want to apply this function if, sorry, we only apply this function if maybe A contains something, it's just something. But we don't return B, we still want to return a maybe A. So Um, hmm. This is annoying. So ask Google if it knows. So you've got a default value. So it goes from A to B, and maybe A means that this needs to be an A. No, let's leave it as B actually. And we want to go to maybe B. Is that a thing? So it's, if this is nothing, then we return yeah, maybe we return, oh no, because the maybiness is coming here. Okay, what I could do is I could just get this type correct. So maybe that, and then we return pure of just that, and that works, I think. Which seems a bit strange, but it makes it easier to write this line. Can I move this onto one line so we can apply this to get environment? Don't think this is going to work. No. Okay. Just leave it at N for now. Stop trying to get it down to one line. Okay, so in theory, I can go back to main and I can go to create booking. And here I can say something like, this is db dot create booking. The ID is the m by d. Fix that couple of this in a minute. B is B, and db is that. So we had this thing where we could just ask for it. Then we need to do the lift IO trick. This is not environments, this is our booking, or maybe booking. Okay, and then we can say case B of nothing, then we throw an error. Otherwise, should we just be pure B prime? Okay, I'll get rid of that error first. So we're now hiding booking. I mean, I can probably get rid of the unqualified import, but let's see. This is now capitalized, so it's M by D. Everything seems happy. Can I get rid of this? I cannot. It's meant db.db. So that's okay, and then a couple more. What I might do actually is, rather than saying db.db, which is a bit ugly, I will import qualified db, but also import db. Okay, no more errors. Does it work? Back run. Okay, new terminal. So we can say curl. We have an environment. We don't have any bookings. Do bookings when you go to? No, you can't say that, apparently. That didn't return anything. My roots per second. So I can get all bookings. Okay, and it lists every single booking. I should really be on the environment actually. Or I can go environment env-id and end the booking. This thing back. So that was to create it, is that right? Yes, post create. Okay. Let's look for bookings in the history. I think it's like this. Okay, cool. So we just set booking from. Okay, apparently that's what we set. Looks like it created it, and then we'll create a new booking at a slightly different time. So we'll just change the months. And now if I get bookings, oops, sorry, the correct URL, it's created these two bookings with their IDs. That's good. I don't think that's quite right. It should actually be environments 0 bookings, but that's not a root. So I then searching back a bit, if I create a new environment and create a booking against that, presumably it'll show up in this bookings list, which is not what I want. Or just be environments. Okay, that creates a test for me. And then if I create a booking against test, this 2022, so very well organized here. Then if we get the bookings back, yeah, it's showing all of them for all environments, which is not what I want. So I'm going to go and fix that. So what it should actually be is environments to capture the env-id is a string. It's not a string, it's a DAO.id. Bookings. And then we want to capture the ID again, I think. It's another ID. And then we return the JSON. This one I'm going to change, it's not a string, it's a .id. Okay, and then we should have some type errors somewhere. Okay, what fun. Does it help? Not massively. I know what the problem is, but it's not a super helpful error message. Okay, Okay, let's go and fix this. So this is .id to that. Let's make it clear as the M. So it's M by D. M by D. Okay, and our ring's broken, so let's go and fix list bookings. Up here. Okay. So we now want to do two things. We want to do the sorting, but the filtering should happen first. Okay, so it's going to go from what order these come in? Comes in ID first, and then the database. This is the MID. Okay, so what do we want to do first? We're going to get back all the bookings. Actually, I could probably sell this online. So before we get the table back, and then before we sort it, we want to filter it. I'm going to say what table is this? This is bookings. So is it the booking M by D? Let's go and look up and down. So inside booking, it's the booking M by D. Booking M by D of X is equal to the M by D we were given. This is DAO dot. Okay. It should be just. Now, what's the warning about? Functor law. Why not join these together and then apply it once? Okay, yeah, let's do that. Okay, so you filter followed by sort on, apply to the thing inside this table. That thing, yeah. Okay, so I have one type warning still. Interesting. So list bookings. It's create booking. I changed the type. Not that. What did I do? I did capturing another ID. That's not the case for listing bookings. Okay, now maybe type error go away. Yeah, so just because I was trying to, I told it to capture another ID and then didn't handle it. Okay, so we're running. Let's create test again. Let's create some bookings against environment 0. And we'll create something against environment 1. Okay, so that returns nothing. 404 because it doesn't exist. Oops. 404, okay. But now I should be able to say environments 0 bookings. There we go. I can get the booking back for that. Let me do it to environment 1. The booking should be 2022. Cool. I think that makes more sense than having a generic bookings endpoint. Okay. Have we committed anything ever? Yes. This is a bit massive, but it's effectively, we do refactored handlers. So all of the codes is in the handlers. So I split. Oh, it's the DB. It's a fake DB, isn't it? DB code and move record definitions into a DAO package. It's probably the wrong thing to do, but it's good enough for now. Okay, back to main. So what I also wanted to do, I guess, is have a duration on this. I'm going to put into booking itself first. So we've got a booking from, and then we're going to have a booking duration, which I could store it as seconds. I wonder if we could create a duration type. So we can say something like data duration. Is duration. We'll go in here. And I'm just thinking, like, instead of storing just seconds, which would be okay, I think, but to have something more meaningful, like 4 hours or 2 days, something like that. So, can we say, like, minutes and then some kind of counter, or hours and then some value for that. Or days. Deriving equal and show. Generic. It doesn't need to drive generic, it just needs to be set. Okay. So this, I think we can then say v colon and then say booking duration. No, because it wasn't that, it was that. It was not that. Oh, how do you do it? It wouldn't be applicative. I have to look this up, but I need to work out how to grab 2 different values from here. Did we do that anywhere else? No, we're just grabbing a single value. So we need to look up ASIN and see how parse JSON works. Parse JSON. Should find out how to run this locally. Be a lot better than just waiting for the web. Okay, want some examples. So code applies to that. It is applicative. I didn't think it was. Okay. VS Code is Magit. Oh yes. And then Magit. Yeah. This is what inspired me to actually switch to using VS Code, but it's not as advanced as Magit, and there's no forge underneath it. It's missing some features, but for 99%, it works really well. So yeah, very cool. Right, where was I? I was in here, and I was trying to its error, so it's saying no instance blah 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 because I don't have generic. I didn't need generic. No, it's not that. Oh, I need to. Okay, I need to create the instance for that separately. Goodness, I don't know how this is going to. I didn't think of that actually. So, how are we actually going to turn this into a JSON representation, and how do we read it? Instance from JSON duration. But it's not really what we want. So maybe we want to do something a bit fancier. So maybe, you know, given some string like 10 minutes, min use 10 minutes. It would turn it into minutes 10. Seems a bit nasty, doesn't it? Or at least a lot of work. Maybe this duration was a stupid idea. Maybe we should start by just making it seconds. I don't know. Actually, maybe there's a natural language to time thing. So a quick look. So can we go string or maybe text? Don't know how this would work. To time. Anything. Panic. Data.time dot produce data.time. Oops. No, can I go string? Oops, not string, but string. No, I can. Okay. Maybe I'll pick this up next time. See if we can write some simple parsing for this, where we assume it is a number followed by minutes or hours or days. Yeah, so when you're creating this, you would say booking duration is 10 minutes. And it would turn that into minutes 10. And booking duration if it's 2 hours. We need to do a singular as well, probably. So we also need to be able to cope with 1 hour, 1 minute, and 1. I might look at running something like that. And then also, I guess, ideally we would like, don't know if it's true or not, but we'd like something that goes from minutes, like 10 to seconds. So that we can add it on to the start time. What can we do with UTC time? I'm going to stop in a second. I'm really curious about what we can do. Can we add to it? I think so, yeah. Is this in data time? Yes, it's in clock. Okay. I'll come back and look at this next week, but yeah, it might be quite nice if I can do some kind of nicer specification of time duration. We'll convert it into its internal representation, probably by defining our own from JSON, and then some way of getting it back into seconds, or ideally into a time. Let's see what we can do with this. Like, how do we add time onto this? Diff time. Yeah, okay, so we go seconds to nominal diff time, and then we add it on to our UTC time, and we should get a new time out. So that's probably what I want to do. So yeah, maybe that, and then also actually maybe another thing which goes minutes 10 to 10 minutes, the string 10 minutes, so we can so that we can generate a JSON that we return as well from the server. Okay, cool. So that's what I'm going to pick up next week. I'm going to look at simple parser for parsing time. Might look at a normalizer as well. So if you say something like 70 minutes, it might say 1 hour 10 minutes. Oh, that's interesting. Yes, it's either minutes or hours or days, but that's maybe not correct. Because how would you do like 2.5 hours? So I might make this recursive. So it could be duration somehow. Yeah, I'll have a look at that. Anyway, yes. So I'll have a look at being able to specify duration, parsing it from some kind of simple natural language description, being able to reverse that so we go back to natural language, and look at getting out in seconds as well, so that we can add as well as booking from, booking to, or booking end time or something. And then we can see whether or not that encompasses the current time. Cool, that's planned for next week. Thanks for watching, and yeah, hopefully see you next week. Bye.